day. She's stepping out like no one. A beautiful daylight flow with tree. Practicing diplomacy. But you feel so out of place. But it's gonna be a great day. Great day. Don't worry, have to worry. It's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be a great day. You ain't got to hurry. Just step back into the state of life. Everything will be alright. Alright. Great, great.
Thank you so much for joining us right here on SIP Television and Radio. In the background, our new theme song for now in this season. It's going to be a great day. And you can find his music at UL Select.
Might be coming in your area, but I guarantee don't let that get you down because the sun is rising. Today is gonna be a great day. Have to work. It's gonna be a great day. Have to hurry. Just step back into the state of life. Everything will be alright. It's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be a great day. Have to work. It's gonna be a great day. Have to hurry. Just step back into the state of life. Everything will be alright. It's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be a great day. Have to hurry. It's gonna be a great day. Have to hurry. Just step back into the state of life. Everything will be alright.
Welcome. We hope that you are inviting a friend somewhere that can be a part of today's broadcast. And I trust that I can find welcome to my Sunday Thoughts. I am so honored you are here. Hope that I can bring the right as I speak into your life today. We are not really starting a new series, but another series goes right into trying
out of place. But it's gonna be a great day. Great day. Don't worry, have to worry. It's gonna be a great day. Great day. You ain't got to hurry. Just step back into the state of life.
I want you to also remember that join us right here on Instagram. You guys are using as your platform for social media. Please join me right there on Instagram. DM me any questions, or if you have speaking engagements coming up and you want a dynamic speaker who will be in the moment based on the vibe of the room, then you can also DM me right there on Instagram. And lastly, let me just say, don't forget, we cannot do this without you. Let me also give a shout out to the HAPS family right here on HAPS TV. We are proud as SIBN Television and Radio Network to be here on this platform by which you can join us and have your free account to do things via broadcasting or to share with us those things that matter to you, whether it be something fun or whether it be something fun or whether it be something that is business like. You can definitely join us right here on HAPS TV. Now, whatever you do, share this information that is on your screen. Tell your friends, listen, I know of a guy an average guy who's living above average in his spirit, and he's manifesting some supernatural thoughts that could help us uh, grow our business, bring together our family, things of this sort, because it's all about triune living. Thank you so very much. And listen, I can't stress this enough. Follow us wherever your social media is found. And I'm struggling here just a little bit because we've got a lot of new panels to share, but you see it right there at Select USA TV. Let's go right to work and talk about what we're going to be sharing on today. Thank you for that theme song, Ulysses Select. My brother is a producer, a filmmaker, and a whole lot more. You may want to tap in to some of the things that he is doing online, or if you are celebrating something special. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's positive, if it's good, then we want to know about it. DM me right there on Instagram for more information. All right. So now we're talking about today quantum, how great my reality could be by owning it. How great could my reality be by owning it? I have a very good friend, and I'm going to refer to her as the executive producer of this show because she has contributed some very, very, really fine dining type thoughts to ensure that those of you that are listening are fed with a balanced and healthy diet of spiritual and inspirational, by all means, motivational nourishment here on SIBN Network. So I want to give a shout out to her. And if you hear me refer to her here and there, that is because some of the nuggets that I will be sharing with you came from her. Let's go right into I want to go to the question first. I want to go to the question first. And before I go to the question, let me go to this right here. The question that we're going to answer, hopefully, partially, probably today, hopefully, but if not, we can continue it in a very unique way on the next week. Quantum, how great? Here's the question. Here's the $1 million question. Is the quantity of energy or momentum proportional in magnitude to the frequency of radiation, of the radiation that you represent? In other words, does what you say and what you do match both your energy and your frequency? I mean, I could have titled today's thought process, "Am I lying or am I living?" Because in order to change my reality, I have to, as my executive producer helped me to understand, I have to make sure that there is a match, not necessarily proportionate as in equal, but proportionate in in the quality of what my energy and what my frequency and what my words and actions represent. For an example, there are those who say that they are the whiners and the diners of women. Let's just use that for an example. And though they may possess the energy to tap into one dimension of the physical, sensational, pleasure driven core, they lack the balance of that same energy because at the end of the physical act, watch this now, they cannot match the frequency by which the woman receiving that pleasure can move higher. I felt some pushing me in my back. You don't want to talk to me. Does the energy on the triune level match momentum match the frequency emitting from my being? So many times we say things and we do things, but we're not proportionately matching the frequency and the energy of our lives. And so we titled this Quantum from the Latin word quantus, because quantus means how great. And in context for today's thoughts, How great could my reality be if I just own it? Now, what does owning it mean? Owning it simply means if it's to be, it's up to me. Now, we've talked a lot about triune living, triune healing, triune wholeness, but part of where the rubber meets the road is the practicality of how to apply knowledge. So let's try to use a few examples. If I say, I want to increase my income, but yet my energy is the same as it was before I declared that, then wouldn't you question whether or not the attainability would be higher or lower based on the scale of my energy? If I say I want to gain weight, which is one of the things that I'm considering, and I didn't cook no more than once a week, would you rate that goal or declaration higher or lower on the scale of energy of being achievable? I dare not. So often we want to impress even ourselves. We say things for our friends and our loved ones to gravitate toward us in a favorable way. But I believe that personal development and reality creation has to be met with a quantum decision. The quantum decision is not how bad do I want it, but how great can I make it? On what planes, with an S, must I rise to the level of the reality that I see? I say that again. On what planes, what runways must I be ready to, under the direction of my divine inspiration and divine faith? What runways am I ready to take off from? The runway of my frequency, the runway of my energy, the runway of my words, the runway of my daily actions. That's four runways. You don't want to run into each other. You don't want to have a calamity on the runway. But how can I simultaneously or at least synchronize my takeoff so that I can create the best and the most impressive, not to others, but to myself, reality that, as you could look around now, would only be called potential? That's really what we're all about for these broadcasts. We're trying to move from preferences, what we like and dislike, to potential, what could be, to quantum. How good, how real can we make it? And we cannot make it good until we have some base understanding. Now I've posed to you the question. Let's go back over the question one more time. And if you're not taking notes during these sessions, you're not going to be able to retain the information that is being shared on this broadcast. All right. Let's ask the $1,000,000 question again. And that question is the quality of my energy or momentum proportionate in magnitude to my frequency? I'm going to paraphrase it. Now, when we talk about the human body, we have to keep certain things in mind. And I think in the American West, we have lost. I want to say this statement as a pre-qualifier. America is only 200 plus years old. We are the child in the world, it seems. Maybe the preteen or tween in the world of understanding. And so I don't want you to get caught up too much in our Western way. I want you to explore, perhaps this week, nature, cuisines, celebrations that are more global, more worldwide. Because in this quantum question that we have asked, you're going to need something that you don't get on a Sunday. You're going to need something that you don't get in your own personal, only meditative state. You're going to need to collaborate with someone that's different from you. We talked about how you can grow by difference, or how you can grow by the different aspects of other cultures and other people, people that are just not like you. So keep that in mind as we ask this question. But I also want to alarm you or awaken you to a greater composite of who we are. In the triune series, of which we're not finished with because this is a part of that, we know that we are body, soul, and spirit. And we broke that down. And if you want to know more about that, you can go back into the archives where I talked about in 1976 my spiritual, if you will, awakening. And I talked about my soul brokenness and I talked about all of that in previous archives. But here today, we're going to share with you that which cannot be separated by good news or bad news per se, or that which cannot be separated by status. This is the human declaration that we're going to learn here today, as many of you already know, that the human body, right, is composed of these things. The human body is composed of energies or energy fields, frequencies, and vibrations. Let me say that again. This statement is for all humankind. There are some things that when the creator finished, when God, whatever you call him, I call him Elohim, I call him Adonai, I call him Jireh. But he, in his creation of all humanity, dispersed within us energies, frequencies, and vibrations. In fact, in another slide I'll show you here in a minute, we are electromagnetic. The executive producer was sharing with me this week about the electricity that we must guard in our bodies. And these things are not afar off from the scientific, biological, psychosocial industries and leaders in our midst and around the world. You can do your own homework, or perhaps you already have begun to do homework. And what else am I besides a sinner? I felt something push me in my back. What else am I besides a saint? What else am I besides an entrepreneur, a business owner, a billionaire? Are you more than a billionaire? Are you more than an entrepreneur? Of course you are. You and I have the capacity and the composites to change the course of history. And we have been doing it for hundreds, and I dare to say thousands of years. How have we done it? How we have done it relates to how we change our next reality, because we have to understand that we're not just composed of just our thoughts and our will. We're not just composed with just our emotions, but we're composed with energies. We are composed. We have the composites of frequencies, and we have the composites of vibrational energies as well. Why? And they are how? And they're all altered by our environment. Now, this is the million-dollar question that we ask at the opening, falls up under the auspices of the tent of my control. Let me say that again. There's a lot of things that we can't control. A wise man said, that which you can't control, don't control. But that which you can control, you must control. And that which you can control is your energy, your frequency, and your vibration. And as you say there on your screen, it is altered by sound. It is altered by just a few of how they're altered. It's altered by food. Your energies, your frequencies, your vibrations is altered by what you eat. Your energies, your frequencies, your vibrations is altered by your ability to laugh or even mourn or cry. Your ability, your energies, rather, your frequencies, your vibrations is altered by your air quality. Have you ever been in a building that was stuffy and your whole altitude was altered and begin to some degree alter your attitude because the oxygen in the air was the saturation was very low, and you begin to wiggle and feel uncomfortable. Before long, you begin to be a little bit less productive, more complaining and more murmuring. Why? Because the diminished air quality altered your energy or altered your frequency or altered your vibration and brought you lower than the place you expected to be to produce on the job for the employer that hired you. If you like what I'm talking about, you need to say something in the comments. If I'm right on the money, you need to let me know, because that's the purpose of this show, to bring it from concept to reality. And we can't do that just with a will. We can't do that just with our emotions. We can't do it just by wanting it. We are so sophisticated in the creation of God's intention that we need to be aware of all the components by which we are made. And we need to tend to, as best we can with spirit guidance and ancestral leadership, tending to the energies, the frequencies, the vibrations, so that we can create, or at least be able to honestly, personally answer the $1 million question. Let's go back real quick. What is the $1 million question? Whatever I say I wanted, whatever reality I said I wanted to embrace, is the energy of my request and desire, is the momentum of my energy proportionate to my frequency that I'm radiating out. I felt something push me. The $1 million question is, how great of a change could I make? How great of a reality could I make? Now, so when I say to you, own it, let's talk about that for a couple of minutes. Let's talk about owning it. Owning it is just what it says. It's owning that I am liable and also responsible for my own energies, frequencies, and vibrations. And I, through my wisdom and through the wisdom of my divine guidance and through the wisdom of my ancestors, as they also look upon me and my bloodline to ensure or to wonder, I want to say ensure, that I will carry forth legacy, that I will be able to match that moment of opportunity and solicit or select or choose partners that will align and sync with me in my efforts to manage me. If you go back to the triune thoughts in the process that we were sharing a few videos back, you will see there is a lot to manage with me. And so I have to be completely responsible and accountable when me is not being managed properly, to investigate whether or not it's my will, or whether or not it's my emotions, or whether or not it's my intellect, or whether or not it's my spirit lacking light, lacking rejuvenation, lacking revelation, lacking discipline. Or am I lacking the right foods, as we're talking about today? Or am I lacking in my air quality? Or am I lacking in my ability to let go through laughter? Or am I lacking in my ability to let go through mourning or through releasing? Because mourning is a form of releasing. And so as you begin to manage your next reality, you're really managing more of yourself at a quantum level. You're really trying to find out how great could my reality be if I own it? No one else is responsible for my frequency. No one else is responsible for my energy. No one else is responsible for my vibration. No one else is responsible for my emotions. No one else is responsible for my will. No one else is responsible for what I need to know when I need to know it. No one else is responsible for the wisdom that I need to apply that which I have gained so that I'm not arrogant in knowing it and not applying it. No one else is responsible for my next reality but me. If you are a believer, not only in the bloodline of your ancestors, but in the finished work of Calvary, then you already know we have every tool at our disposal. We have been considered and finalized in the court of public opinion by a divine source, saying that we are more than conquerors through Him. And if He created us with all of these composites, all of these components, then I'm going to be big enough to take responsibility for me. I'm not going to leave it to the preacher. I'm not going to leave it to the church. I'm not going to leave it to my wife. I'm not going to leave it to my husband. For those of you that are married, I'm not going to leave it to my boyfriend, to my girlfriend. I'm not going to leave it to my parents. I'm not going to leave it to my partner. I'm not going to leave it to the company I work for. I'm not going to leave it to the platform for my social media people to do it. If it is to be, it is up to me. I got to do some management of me to have that next brand new reality. Wasn't trying to make that rhyme, but we got a little bit of time. That's why we're laying it down like this. The reality can be as big as I can manage myself. Imagine that. And in your thought process, you're going to hear, you can't do that. In your thought process, you're going to hear that's impossible. In your thought process, you're going to hear you didn't make it before. You didn't overcome before. But just take inventory of all of your composites and ask the question first, am I going to be responsible for me? Yes. Am I going to be accountable for me? Yes. Then that way I can take the fallout if I fall short of the reality I imagine, and I can take, with God's help, with Jehovah's help, with Yeshua's help, with Jah's help. I need some help out there for my Jamaican and my island folk. I mean, with help, with my divine help, with my ancestral help, I will be able to boast of what I have accomplished. But remember this. Boasting is only for a fleeting moment, because what you did then is what you did then. And what you did then is different from what you're doing now. And each reality compounds itself one upon another. And I begin to come out of impossibility. I begin to come out of I can't do it or I can't accomplish it. Maybe there's a different path, a different tactic, a different strategy. Maybe I need partners. Let me stop and say a word about partners. When we go back to the screen and we see how we are made, divinely so, scientifically, for those of you who stick to the scientific side, when we look at the wonders of the world, we know they were before our time. How is that? Because we only teach to humans what we want to control in humans. This program is about exposing all of the components at your disposal to create whatever you imagine. And should your imagination violate a law here or there may be exceptions by which you still succeed. In quantum thinking, what goes up does not come down. Quantum thinking is a different galaxy of existence. And it is ensured by the partners I have chosen or aligned myself with. And too many of us who are in the Western space align ourselves only with religious partners. We don't align ourselves with that which does not sound like what my mother told me or my father told me or my sister, brother, or uncle or auntie. This space is controlled. This is designated knowledge. Quantum thinking does not deal in designated knowledge. It deals in all knowledge, all wisdom, used respectively, used proportionately, used in a prioritized way, used in a balanced way, but nevertheless used. What or who are our partners forward to create the next dynamic, best reality of our lifetime? Who are your partners? No man is an island. And if you have someone on board your ship that is chiseling a hole in the baseboard of your ship, in the engine room of your ship, if you have sabotagers and naysayers, use their energy to be even more affirmative, to be even more determined, to be even more disciplined, to be even more well rounded. Don't waste any energy. I feel some pushing me right there. Don't waste any. That's what God does. That's what the divine does. He does not waste any portions of his creations, even though it is used for evil. Some of you are running around telling people what they can't do regarding mediums and horoscopes and the zodiac. You need to stop talking, because everything that God made, everything that was made was good. How it is used is a different story. And I want to tell you that we need every component of our capacity to make the next reality and to make it as good as we can make it. How do you think we get a Elon Musk? Yes, maybe he was born with a silver spoon, but he at least didn't use that spoon as the Vanderbilts did many hundreds of years ago, where they just didn't even decide to work at one point. And they said, we're so rich, we don't have to work, because we're not composed of just riches or what we have or what we don't have. Let me go back real quick to the board. Let me go back to the board. We are energy. We are frequency. We are vibration. And the super knowledge on top of that fact is that we are more than one energy. We are more than one frequency. We are more than one vibration. And all of that is altered by our environment. It's altered by our absorption rate. For instance, if I'm not drinking enough water, to use that for a lifeline example, then it's going to throw off my regeneration levels, my ability to regenerate the necessary cells that I need to regenerate, to fight off diseases, to fight off anything in my body that is foreign to its creation. I need some help. What are you? You are spirit, you are soul, you are body, you are also energy. The church did not tell you this. The religions of the West did not tell you that you are a composite of frequencies. The church did not tell you that you are a composite of vibrations. Let's use one biblical story as an example. Jesus walks by a tree that bears no fruit. And how is it that he is noticing the fruit? Does he look at it? The scriptures doesn't tell us that he sees it, and maybe it does tell us that he sees it, but why would you be on your word to be productive somewhere and be looking at a tree that is not producing anything? Because the vibrations that we have been given to build up notices dead patterns, dead things that are My time is almost up. Things that are not working. Have you noticed what's not working? Listen, here's another fun fact. Healthy humans just standing still in their space without exercising any energy has a base megahertz level between 65 and 75, thus still generating without doing one simple movement, electric, electromagnetic energy. If we're at the height of our game, which a lot of our athletes, our Olympic stars, our pro ball players are at, there's a regeneration level because of the optimization that they have placed themselves through between 285 megahertz to up to 396 megahertz, meaning that when they get injured, because they have done the work within their mind, soul, and body, because they understand vibrational energy, they understand their frequencies, because they are optimized as athletes, their wounds, their injuries can heal faster and quicker. Why? Because their regenerational levels have been adhered to with all the necessary ingredients in play in their favor. I gotta go. This is why we are pushing you forward. This is why we are pushing you forward. How great could my reality be if I own it? How great could my reality be if I stop blaming him, her, and them? If I stop blaming how I was raised and how I was stopped from this and I was prohibited from that and how I was bullied here and bullied there? How great could my next breakthrough be if I take responsibility? I went over my time because you are my concern. You must listen to this and take notes until a portion, 2 portions, 3 portions, until that steak is like you can digest it, until that meal is balanced enough to give you nutritional energy, speaking of energy, to move into the number one spot in your life. I'm not sharing things with you I read out of a book somewhere. I'm sharing things with you that I'm practicing right now. There are partners that you need to shed in your next reality creation. There's some things that you need to let go of. I need some help right there. I'm going to issue you a challenge as well. Because as an empath, we have been long too shy to say, support what I'm doing. Do these things just happenstance, or do they just happen to appear out of nowhere? It's equipment and all of the things that we need to make these messages go forward. No. With the same composites, with our will, with our emotion, with our intellect, with our light that's not ours but shines through us. I need some help. This little light of mine is not so little after all. With my energy, with my vibration, with my frequency, I commit like an athlete my entirety to divinity, to inspiration and motivation for balance, that I may achieve the impossible and touch the intangible. This is not some conversation I have over a beer. These are my meditative thoughts. I check in with my partners and I make sure I have elements within my environment that support my intention. Well, if I've said something today that makes the difference in your life, would you do me one favor? I double dare you. Share a seed. This is the greatest misnomer of Western culture, that everything is free. everything is not free. If you have felt blessed by this message, whether you send $1 or $5 or $5,000, we're not going to be ashamed to say we need your help. We want you to be one of our partners in the holistic and healthy pursuit of excellence and the creation of new realities. Take down our Cash App ID and share a seed. I've got to get ready to go, but this is some stuff. Listen, we're going to continue. It may be another topic on next week, but we're going to have more, because quantum thinking does not accept only delegated knowledge. Quantum thinking entertains the possibility of whatever knowledge is necessary and whatever wisdom that helps us apply it for the reality that we imagine. My name is Marcus Salat. I hope that you can share this with a friend. Until next time, this has been my Sunday Thoughts. I appreciate you so much.
Anxieties, feel emotionally out of this today. Stepping out like no one. A beautiful daylight poetry, practicing diplomacy. But you feel so out of place. But it's gonna be a great day.